Oh, before Nikki hops on here, just wanted to say hi. This is my first live video, even though I've done YouTube for a little over 2 years now. So I thought it'd be fun to invite Nikki on here. I will definitely put her YouTube channel in the comments below. We're just going to kind of chat about, we have a very similar background from Christianity to New Age to Christianity and kind of everything that goes along with that. And we're going to talk about some other stuff involving Hollywood, and it's going to be fun. So she should be hopping on here any sec. And we will just go from there. I just want to see if it is coming up on here. And then as soon as Nikki gets on here, we will go right ahead and get started. See what's going on over here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could see the chat, which I can. So as soon as Nikki gets on, we'll get started. So this is my weird little live room setup. It's not really like this setup, but all my roommates are home, so it will do for now. I thought this was supposed to come up. I have my laptop sitting here so I can see how it's showing up, but for some reason it's not popping up. So, oh, there it is. Cool. So it is here. Put that on mute. How's everyone doing? So like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about New Age to Christianity, some struggles that go along with that. We're going to talk about like Hollywood and what's going on over there because we all know something's up. So if you guys have any questions revolving anything that me and Nikki are going to be talking about today, she should be on any second, then let us know in the chat because it'll be fun to talk about. So here we see live chat. Yeah, here she comes. Hey,
Hi.
how's it going, Nikki?
Good. How are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm so excited that we get to chat today.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so like I said when I texted you, if you like have to go at any point, just let me know and we'll wrap up. Because I know you said you have a kid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
he's napping, so we should be good for a little bit, but yeah, I'll let you know if I do.
okay, awesome. How old is he?
He's 2.
Oh, so super cute.
Yeah,
Terrible cues or no?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely terrible news. He's so crazy. He has the most vibrant personality. He's wild, but I
I love that. Well, so basically, the reason I wanted to kind of like chat on here with you is because I actually found your YouTube channel. Geez, I don't even know when it was that I reached out to you. Probably November or December or something like that. Definitely before the new year. But I just like related so much to your story. Your like new age. I know you started off with like Christianity and then you went new age and then you went back to Christianity, and I just like really like went through the same thing. And I feel like it's just like something people don't talk about. So I guess I'll kind of just start off by like asking you like a little bit about like your story, like how I know you were raised like in the church and everything, and then you went how did you go from like Christianity to New Age in the first place?
um yeah, it's like such a journey,
Yeah.
but like I don't think it was one specific thing, but it um just kind of I've always had this like yearning, spiritual seeking mindset. Like I will find the truth.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, and I think you do too. And some people seem to have that more than others, right? Like they're
Yeah.
very interested in spirituality. Um, so I just kind of started exploring whatever came into my realm, like what my friends would talk about, or but it was the secret, the law of attraction.
That was
That
my intro too.
yeah, that so many people got really into that because it is fascinating.
Yeah, very like enticing. And it's like, I feel like, especially with those, like, I know you mentioned in your one video, I like, I grew up like Catholic and I struggled really hard to connect with that and grasp onto it. So, like, when law of attraction, The Secret, all that started popping up, I'm like, oh, like, this is more like tangible. Like, this is something that like I can understand on an easier level. And I don't know if it was like that for you or not, but
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. And it was just because it talks so much about the power of your words
Mhm.
and how that's creating your existence. And I mean, they take a lot from the Bible, so
Right.
there's truth mixed in with it, of course. But it doesn't lead to Jesus, is the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing I like found too. I actually recently did a YouTube video on like, is manifesting in the Bible? And then I don't know if you know much about like the law of assumption community, but they also often refer to themselves as like gods of their reality, right? And I feel like that is a that's like such a blurred line where, like, do personally, like, I do believe manifestations in the Bible. However, I think it's been taken out and like kind of misplaced, whereas people are believing they're doing this manifestation through themselves and essentially like glorifying themselves through it, and not understanding that like this is all through the Holy Spirit, right? And I feel like that's like the issue.
Yeah, yeah, and I would agree, and I think that when you are just trying to manifest, like that's your main goal in your life is manifesting. It becomes more about you, more about what you want, specific goals or dreams in your life, which sounds fine, but
Right.
um, when it comes to Christ, Christ wants us to lay down our life for Him. So,
Right, like
uh,
he did us. Like,
yeah,
oh.
yeah, and I it's like you can hear that over and over again, but it takes God, it takes Jesus to like actually pull it out of you and hear that I want you to lay your life down for me, for my will.
Right. Well, and you mentioned will, so I wanted to bring that up and talk to you about it because I watched a video of yours a little bit ago and it was about like predestination, free will, that kind of thing. And I feel like that is such a confusing concept like in the Christian community. And I would love to like explore that a little bit because like I always go back and forth with it, but I don't know. Like, what's your opinion on free will?
um
Let's go right into it.
yeah. um well, I think that we have both, like they're both simultaneously happening, where we have free will and we don't on some levels. Because in our day-to-day existence, obviously you can make a choice to do and what
Mhm.
one thing or do another. But I definitely think there is times in my life that I could even look back on and see that I had no choice. God came in and did something, pulled me
Mhm.
somewhere, whether that's like maybe you have to move, maybe someone dies in your family, maybe something really intense happens. Maybe you go through a big divorce. Uh, these things like kind of can sometimes seem influenced from God, um,
Yeah.
and you don't really have choice in that. So I feel like that's part of God's higher will or higher plan. Or
Yeah. No, that's so interesting because on one hand, okay, people that don't believe in free will, right? Like they'll say, well, then what's the point of praying? What's the point of doing anything when everything is already like laid out for you? But then on the other hand, it's like, well, if we didn't have free will, then essentially like there probably like there wouldn't be evil because God would completely control everything. So it's just like such an interesting the way I kind of look at it is, is like, how did you ever read one of those books when you were little where like you would read a chapter and then at the end of the chapter it would give you like two choices and it would say, if you want to do this, like in the story, turn the next page. But if you want to make this choice, jump to page, 50 or
Oh,
whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
uh-huh.
how to, like, look at it that way, where I'm like, like we have this free will, but within the free will, we're kind of always like being directed and guided. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's somewhere along those lines, it's like I feel like we'll never really fully get the answer, but
Yeah. It's just such an interesting concept, but like I definitely believe in free will because I mean, even if you go back to like the story of Adam and Eve, I mean, if they didn't have free will, the apple wouldn't have been eaten.
right, yeah, totally. And they're both in the Bible. Like it constantly talks about choosing Jesus, choosing to pray, choosing to read the Bible, choosing to follow the word. But then also God chooses people and it's all already done.
Yeah, right, right. So it's just like and I honestly like it's just so far above human comprehension, I think, that a lot of times, like, because that's what I hear from, people that don't believe in God or atheists or whatever, is they're just like, well, none of this makes sense. Like, how can it be, three people or three entities in one? And it's like, well, it doesn't make sense to us, obviously, because we're
Yeah,
just like little humans.
yeah, totally. I'm like, well, what do you expect? It's God. We're not gonna
Right. Like, the most complex, confusing, high energy, all that there is thing, spirit, entity. And we're just like a little tiny like pebble of that.
Yeah, yeah. But what scared me a little bit actually about Calvinism is is that if God predestines everything, if God predestines the chosen people, his chosen
Mhm.
Israel, then he also predestined. This is Calvinism. This isn't my opinion. This is just
Okay.
Cal.
Yeah, no, I'm interested.
uh, Then God also predestined like Satan's children.
Interesting.
So in a way it kind of makes God the author of evil,
Right.
which
That's
doesn't sit right.
interesting. Yeah. Well, because it's just like, well, and that, because like God is light, right? So it's like God is all light, all love. So how could he but I also understand like my problem is that like I always understand where people are coming from. So
Yeah.
like if someone, like says, well, this it doesn't make sense or like something like Calvinism or the Bible was written by like humans. I'm like, I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, same. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is an interesting concept. I really haven't looked too much into Calvinism. I saw you did a video on it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. But it seems like an interesting concept.
it is, but it's kind of dark, it just paints this like darker image of God almost, but I don't know, like the Bible talks a ton about God being sovereign. So God is allowed to happen, every evil thing to happen
Right, right.
for
Yeah, go ahead.
for a purpose is
Yeah,
always.
well, right, and that's the thing I always come back to, right? So, like, I don't know, have you ever studied, like, near-death experiences or, like, soul contracts or things like that?
Yes. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of near death experience stories where they go to
I'm
heaven, hell, and
yeah, yeah, I'm just, like, so hooked on them. Um, I am, like, I've been studying them for, like, a year. I'm reading this book by Dolores Cannon right now, and she's really interesting. I don't know if you've heard of her or not, but she does a lot of, she studied, like, Jesus's life outside the Bible, like, things that, like, people don't really, like, know.
you're cut you're cutting out. Sorry, you're frozen for a second. Hmm. Um, I think she's coming back, guys. I'm waiting for her to come back. I don't know. Yeah, DZ. My name's Nikki. I'm just a girl. I'm Christian. I'm a Christ follower. I would prefer to say Christ follower than Christian, but I'm okay with saying Christian too. And I come from like New Age beliefs. I come from a long spiritual seeking journey. Um, and I landed at Christ.